Hello, everybody. You're very welcome to this week's Between the Lines podcast. The way we try to break up your week for you, give you a midweek injection of Liverpool Football Club. Thankfully, we have a game to talk about because Liverpool played Crystal Palace on Monday evening. I'm joined by Christian, by Jack, and by Dave to have a little chat through everything LFC related. First thing I want to have a chat about, gents, is of course the game against Crystal Palace that took place on Monday evening. Christian, first things first, mate, team selection, no place for Fabinho on the bench. What were your thoughts on how Jurgen Klopp lined up?
They wanted to see if the option... our fullbacks wasn't that good in the first half. So, and perhaps they've been struggling against the Palace before. So I think they wanted to see if they might want to use the Moreno speed second half, and or Klein if Trent perhaps wouldn't be good enough. And now with Henderson being back and our midfield three are being this high quality as they are, I think he thought that we only need one backup in midfield, but on fullbacks we might need both of them.
It's a fair point, and I did hear him say, Christian, in his post-match interview that he was talking through the team, saying how well everybody played, but he didn't really think the fullbacks gave their best performance. He said they could probably improve by 70%.
Yeah, first half I thought they were quite poor, both of them. I thought Zaha was he had very easy to create situations on the left side, and I thought Trent's delivery of crosses was really poor. He did one good one, but I think 5 or 6 like really poor ones. And Robertson played a little bit too safe in the first half. Both of them improved second half, and that's why they didn't need to make those substitutions. I thought they were going to bring on Shaqiri instead of Lallana. I was a bit surprised about that actually, but it's also saying a lot about the squad depth when you keep a guy like Fabinho. We all seen that he has quality and he has a bright future ahead of him, but it is a really tough competition to get into the squad.
It certainly is, and that's a good thing. Dave, I'm a believer in rewarding people for good performances, so when I seen that Jurgen Klopp went with the exact same 11 that started against West Ham, I have to say I was quite happy.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth as well, that bit being the reward. Why would you break up a team that's just won 4-0? Emphatically won 4-0. Now, I appreciate it was the first game of the season and what have you, but I think it would have been unfair on the 11 that started against West Ham to maybe change them. I'm not going to use the word rotate because we didn't play in 8 days, and this is the only competition so far. The League Cup doesn't kick off a while, and he does the Champions League. So, yeah, the team that beat West Ham was the team that I would have started as well. I'm not sure what's wrong with Fabinho. You could look at it a few different ways. Fabinho's a very, very good player. So, it's maybe, he's getting used to the club system because, it is a completely different system that he would have played with at Monaco. It's a lot more high intense. And we did say the same thing with Robertson and Ox. They were given time to kind of bed themselves in, and then they came in and they were flying. Christian made some really good points. I thought the exact same regarding the fullbacks. I thought on the opposite side when we were attacking, I was surprised at how much space our fullbacks were getting, especially with Palace were playing a 4-4-2. Trent's delivery, even against West Ham as well, and against Palace, it does need to improve a bit. Now, he could be a little ring rusty, I suppose. He is not long back from, holidays. He didn't have a full pre-season, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he is a very good player. But yeah, the amount of space we were getting on the wings there with our fullbacks was huge. I have a few notes down here just from the game. Robbo was Andrew Robertson. He was pretty sloppy with, a few passes and touches and all that. And maybe he was playing a bit safe. But look, overall, I thought the game, we were very much in control all game. And I think, we deserve the win. It's as simple as that.
Jack, looking at this from a Crystal Palace perspective, one thing that struck me within 10-15 minutes of that game starting was quite how well drilled and how firm that Crystal Palace side were. They really all knew their jobs.
Yeah, I thought Crystal Palace played really well yesterday. I mean, I know from a Liverpool point of view, we're quite critical of Roy Hodgson, but I mean, from a Crystal Palace point of view, if I was a Palace fan, I'd be excited at their chances in the season ahead because they look really well drilled. They gave us a decent game. They looked good. That Wan-Bissaka looks class. If you put aside his sending off, of course. But yeah, they look really, really well drilled, and I was impressed with Crystal Palace last night. I mean, before the season started, you were looking at the likes of Wolves, West Ham, Fulham to be impressive this season, but no one really mentioned Crystal Palace. But they managed to keep hold of Zaha and tie him down on a new long-term contract, and last night they played really well, and I expect them to do really well for the rest of the season.
Interesting you mentioned Wan-Bissaka, because reading Liverpool fans' comments and gone onto Twitter afterwards, he's a player that caught the eye of a lot of Reds as well. Taking aside his red card, just his performance in general seems to be one that didn't go unnoticed by Liverpool fans.
I think he shows some similarities to Trent Alexander-Arnold, doesn't he? He's a young lad, has a lot of heart and a lot of passion, and it's clear that he's got good abilities. And I think there's a new breed of fullbacks really, and he definitely fits into that. But yeah, I mean, he was very unlucky with his challenge that equalled the red card. I think it was a no-brainer for Michael Oliver to send him off once he's made the tackle, but it's a tackle he had to make really at 1-0 down, wasn't it? And he was unfortunate to be slightly too late, but he is a player that has impressed me. He impressed me against Fulham in the first game of the season as well. And I mean, I think everyone's snapping him up in their fantasy teams. So he has impressed a lot of people in his first 2 games.
I have to be honest, I just put him in my fantasy team as well. I have to be honest about that when he went straight in. I do want to pick your brain though, Jack, for a second on that sending off incident. Now, I don't want you to tell me if you think it was correct or incorrect or anything like that. I just want to get a quick brush up on the laws of the game, because I know something was changed. Has the last man rule been removed from football?
No, it's not been removed. It's been slightly changed, and the law isn't the same as it was a few years ago. But there is a new law that involves the double jeopardy law, which means if he's deemed to not be going for the ball, or the ball isn't there to be won, it is a sending off. If, however, there is an intent to play the ball, a clear intent to play the ball, the referee can give him a yellow card, as it wasn't. It was a clear attempt to play the ball. But I mean, if you saw Wan-Bissaka's tackle yesterday, it was extremely late, and I think it does fall into the category of red card. The ball wasn't there at the time Wan-Bissaka went in. Mo Salah clearly beaten for legs, and Wan-Bissaka just thought, I'm gonna go, but it was way too late. I think Salah was very clever, as you saw. He was very clever for the penalty as well, and I think he did a very good job, Mo Salah. But I'm not saying that he played to get Wan-Bissaka sent off, of course. I just think he knew he beat him for pace and did that. And Wan-Bissaka, obviously a new boy, not played much. He just not really. Sorry, I forgot the word. He's not got that professionalism in him yet. He doesn't know. He needs a bit more experience in him, and his inexperience shined through really.
Absolutely. You mentioned that Mo Salah was very clever with his run. That's exactly what went through my mind as well. He didn't give the defender the angle to come in and tackle. And look, I want to move on from this one, Christian, and have a little chat about our defensive colossus. Virgil van Dijk yesterday was every inch the £75 million defender that we thought we were getting.
Yeah, but he's pure class. I watched a clip. It was on one of the forums a few days ago on Facebook, and there is this clip where Van Dijk played for Celtic against Barcelona at Nou Camp. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube, and it says the clip is like a 22-year-old Van Dijk versus Barcelona at Nou Camp. And they have put a collage up about his performance in that game. And it's probably one of the best performances made by a central defender in the world history. It's that good. And I think perhaps that could be the time that Klopp decided that in the future I'm going to bring Van Dijk into my team, because he's looking for the players who can really perform against the best, but not only against the best. What we see in Van Dijk is a winner, and he conducts the defense so that everybody becomes winners. Just look what he's doing with Gomez. I think Gomez deserves huge amount of praise how he has started. Everybody was a bit uneasy about how Gomez was going to be starting the season as a central defender, but with Alisson behind and Van Dijk at his side, he's been absolutely fantastic. So central defense looks really, really solid. And Van Dijk yesterday, he was my man of the match.
He was absolutely excellent. The aerial duels that he had with Christian Benteke. I mean, it's not easy to beat Christian Benteke in the air. And I was trying to count yesterday, Christian. I think there was one aerial duel I remember that he lost out of at least 6 or 7.
Yeah, and the Benteke, he really had a horrible game. And that's the worst that could happen to you when you want to prove to your former club that they were wrong to go another direction. But he proved Liverpool right by selling him. He had a really poor game, and of course, Van Dijk is a tough cookie to break. That's for sure.
Dave, I want to move upfield a little bit and have a little chat about Naby Keita and one incident in particular, because he did something wrong yesterday. He gave the ball away to Townsend, who rattled the crossbar. But if we could push that aside and just talk about the Cruyff turn and the ball over the top to Mo Salah, because that's what I was dreaming about going to bed last night.
Yeah, it was Townsend as well. He just sent him for the echo, and I don't think Townsend came back. Unbelievable turn. And you could see Townsend just jogging after it going, I've just been made a mug of here, a complete mug of. And that was a really good opportunity for us as well, because Keita broke and we were lucky enough to score. It was a bit sloppy by Mo Salah. No, we don't really say that. But I thought the best person for me in midfield yesterday was Gini Wijnaldum. I thought he was just absolutely sensational yesterday. He pushing for me man of the match. He just done the horrible things that, you know, kind of a defensive or a box-to-box needs to do. And he had a really, really good tackle as well to save a kind of like a near goal scoring opportunity for Palace. But Naby Keita, I haven't seen the best of him yet. I know it's only been 2 games. But he's the player. He's even ahead of Alisson as the most excited I'm looking to see in a new player in a Liverpool jersey. He just has it all. He's 23 years old as well. You know, he seems to be settling really quickly with Sturridge, and obviously he knows Sadio Mane, which is really helping him. But from what I can see, I don't know if he's trying too much or if he's trying to force it too much now that he's at Liverpool. And still, he's not even making that many mistakes. He looks so good. But what I mean is, he does have another couple of levels to go. Naby Keita, he is that good.
Dave, we're sitting here recording this podcast. I'm sitting here in a Naby Keita 8 shirt. I'm not lying. I'm sitting here. I've got Keita 8 on the back of my jersey. I'm a big fan of the guy. And I was listening to Jurgen Klopp in his post-match interview yesterday saying, everybody loves him, but nobody has a clue what he's saying because he can't speak English yet. So everybody understands the language of football. And he's a bit of an introverted fella, but he's already won the entire team over.
That's like you heard things with Sturridge and the guys then just coming out saying, look, really didn't know how good this guy was. And it's just wow. And they're professional footballers who've seen, you know, you take Sturridge, he's played with the likes of Luis Suarez and whoever it might be as well. They've seen the best. They've played against the best. I've been saying it since, you know, we signed him last year. And I was just so disappointed that we had to wait a year because he's just an absolute Rolls Royce of a player. He really is.
We've got a few of them, thank God. Jack,
yeah.
I want to have a little chat about our forward line, Jack. And in particular, Bobby Firmino. And I do want to get your man of the match as well, by the way, in case I forget. But has Bobby Firmino's role in this Liverpool team almost changed? Is it just me, or am I seeing Mo Salah and Mane playing more centrally at times?
I think the main idea is that our front three can play. all three of them can play anywhere across that front line. I think with them constantly rotating left, right, middle, I think it confuses defences more and more and more. I mean, last night what was great to see was offensively we weren't at our best. We were far from our best. Yet defence at the back and Alisson were superb. And actually, if you look, they won us the game really. Our defence and goalkeeper last night. I think we had going forward. Even Klopp said we weren't as strong as usual, and it's going to take them front three because you're completely right. And it is going to take the front three a while to adjust because it does look this season like it has changed, and Klopp does want them to constantly rotate and confuse defences more. Roberto Firmino, I think he's just not long come back from the World Cup, and I think it will take him time. But I mean, I've spoke a lot before about how underrated his role is at Liverpool Football Club, and I think the last 2 games I've seen some silly tweets about Firmino again. But to be honest, I think he's class, and he's just adjusting to having to play wider more often as well.
You touched on Alisson Becker there and our defensive resolve yesterday. His distribution was bordering on ridiculous at times, Jack. It was like having a quarterback back there.
Oh, Alisson is top. He's a top quality goalkeeper, and he just shows exactly how important it is now to have a world class goalkeeper. I mean, we saw last season with Ederson for Man City how good his distribution was, and I mean, I must say I'm a massive fan of Alisson, and the way he kicks the ball, his distribution is superb. And Alisson's come in and he is a mirror image of Ederson in terms of distribution, and in terms of shot stopping, he tops Ederson. That's why he's Brazil's #1. And I do have to say, I mean, I watched Chelsea Arsenal on Saturday, and Kepa's performance after they smashed the world record transfer for a goalkeeper that we broke with Alisson, and he was quite poor, wasn't he, on Saturday? Yeah, Alisson continues to impress. He's the only goalkeeper in the Premier League that hasn't conceded a goal at the minute, playing 2 games, of course. But he continues to impress me with both distribution and shot stopping. The save he made from Milivojevic's free kick was also top draw, and we really have got ourselves a goalkeeper here. And I mean, Klopp's comments yesterday about it nearly fell through after what the reaction was after the Champions League final and that. And to be honest, I completely fair play to Karius, and I wish him the best of luck in his loan move at Besiktas. But I'm so glad we finally have a proper goalkeeper that every Liverpool fan can trust.
I'm smiling constantly, guys. I'm not going to lie. The last few weeks has been an absolute pleasure to be a Liverpool fan. Christian, we did a lot of business in the summer, a lot of good business. But for me, if there's one area in this team that we look very well stocked at this moment in time, and it's something I wanted to have a little chat about, was the midfield options, if everybody was fit, available to Jurgen Klopp.
Yeah, well, what happened is that Gini Wijnaldum and James Milner are too good to get away from the starting lineup. And Klopp believes that KEITA will be the #1. And that means Henderson and Fabinho won't make the team. That's basically how it is. The quality of those 3 together has been world class. Probably one of the best midfields there is, and that makes us have 2 quality midfielders on the bench.
Looking through the list there, we've got Jordan Henderson, Gini Wijnaldum, Fabinho, James Milner, Adam Lallana, Naby Keita, Sheridan Shaqiri, if we can call him an attacking mid. I know he's more of a wide forward. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain when he comes back from injury. That is some selection headache in a very good way, Christian, for the manager.
It is, and we can also be quite diverse in midfield. We can change it, and I mean, to be fair, yesterday we could have gone to half time with a draw, and then the second half would be completely different. Let's say the referee wouldn't have given the penalty. And because, as you both said before, Palace was quite good. And they will cause a lot of trouble to the other clubs in the Premiership for sure. They looked very solid. And if we had been struggling longer of scoring, I think that we can change how we work with our midfielders, and perhaps bring on Shaqiri much earlier, or change Firmino's position and bring on Sturridge, or however we want to change it up. But we have so many options to choose from. And sometimes we will be attacked, let's say against Manchester City, who looks just amazing in the start of the season, even though perhaps their opposition wasn't so good this weekend. But they look really, really strong. And let's say when we play Barcelona or Real Madrid or one of these teams in Europe, we might want to choose a more defensive lineup in midfield. And Klopp can really change our system, with it being quite difficult for our opponents to see which system we are choosing, because we are very diverse in how many options we have, but they are also quite diverse within themselves. They can play many different kind of roles, which means we will be very hard to read before the games.
Christian, I want to move on and talk to Dave, but before I do, you touched on the midfield, or not the midfield, the penalty incident there. What was your take on that? Was it or wasn't not a penalty?
I've actually watched the analysis from Gary Neville and Jamie Carragher. I thought when I saw it yesterday, of course, in the pub, everybody was shouting, penalty, penalty, yeah, that's a penalty. I wasn't that sure. But then I saw how they took it down, so to speak, frame by frame. And then you can tell that Sakho is actually a bit clumsy. And he keeps reaching out with the leg. He first hits Salah one time, and then he keeps extending the leg. So I think it is a penalty, even though it's not like one of these penalties that you can say, yeah, that's definitely a penalty. It took a lot of replays until I saw it. But yeah, I do think it's a penalty.
Yeah, as you said, it's not like the Wan-Bissaka one. If that was inside the box, all day long that was a clear-cut penalty. So I get where you're coming from. This was, Dave, it was one of those decisions. If it goes against you, you're screaming at the television, and if it goes for you, you're saying to the other team, like, stop being salty. That was a penalty.
No, we're the biggest hypocrites in the world, football fans, aren't we? But for me, yeah, I agree with Christian. It was, he tugged at him twice, Sakho. He had hold of his jersey. And he didn't win the ball, and he did clip the man. So if you don't win the ball, and if you do clip the man inside the box, the rules are it's a penalty. And that's just end of story for me. Simple as that. It's not how Mo Salah goes down easy or anything like that. How could he stay on his feet when his legs, Sakho's nearly got a trip in his legs there, and he's trying to get a shot away, Salah. So for me, it was a penalty all day long. All day long.
Getting back to the midfield options, Dave, before I get into your thoughts on the options available to Jurgen Klopp, I just want to have a quick mention to Marko Grujic, who has signed an extension to his Liverpool deal and then immediately gone on loan over to where you're living now in Germany to Hertha Berlin. Yeah,
he's gone to a decent team who will, Hertha Berlin be expecting to kind of push up the table a bit more than they did last year. They had a really good start to the season, Hertha, last year. They've got a good opening game on Saturday against Nuremberg, who Nuremberg just come up. So hopefully he'll get a start. It'd be interesting to see, because obviously he hasn't been there that long, but I'll be keeping my eye out for him. Absolutely will be. But they're a good sized team, Hertha Berlin. They're always, they'll definitely be pushing for a UEFA Cup spot this year. So hopefully, he'll obviously get the game time. That's why he's gone there as well, because I don't think that's why he went to Cardiff, because I don't think Cardiff were going to guarantee him the game time like he had last season. And I think that's why Liverpool pulled the plug. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to watching him a bit more, I suppose, closely now and a bit more easily.
If there's one thing about the midfield options that the manager has now that makes me happy, is that if we get to a situation like the Champions League final again, like we did last year, and Jurgen Klopp needs to go to the bench to change something or to shore up the midfield, he has a lot more options than he had this time last year.
Well, it's not only that, Craig. I think we need to look at, I think Jurgen Klopp has finally realised that, you know, without a Christmas break, or without a winter break, should I say, in the Premier League, it's fucking horrendous for players. You know, people say they get well paid, but, you know, if we're obviously in the League Cup, we're in the Champions League, you know, you have the FA Cup starting then in the first week of January. And then, you know, you have probably 3 games, Premier League games within the Christmas period. It's, you know, it's difficult to keep players fresh and kind of know what to do with them. But there's 8 midfielders you've named there, you know, with excluding Oxlade-Chamberlain, who I don't think will be out for the season. I do think the way that man is built, he'll be back in February. But, you know, you have 7 players there, excluding Ox, that are fantastic midfielders. They really are. And who can, you know, they add something completely, each one of you adds something completely different. You know, for now, I think, you know, we've Brighton on Saturday. I don't think he'll change the midfield again. He brought off James Milner. I think it was 60, 70 minutes against Palace. Hendo came on. So he might change one of the two, but I'd be surprised if he drops James Milner or rests him. Sorry. But, you know, you mentioned, as I said, that the players there, you look at Hendo, who's obviously the leader, he's the captain of the club. You know, I think he's absolutely brilliant. Gini, I think this season is going to have a huge season. I really do. I think he's not afraid of getting stuck in now. Fabinho, we've yet to see him what he's going to be like for Liverpool, but if he's anything like he was for Monaco, he's going to be absolutely brilliant as well. Adam Lallana is probably the guy you're looking at there who's going to get the least game time, if I'm honest with you. But Adam Lallana, he's so much quality as well, you know, and he's going to fight for his position, which is brilliant. You want players who's going to fight for their position and be pissed off when they're not picked and be pissed off when they're being substituted, because it shows that they want to play. So it's brilliant. We haven't been in a position like this regarding midfield for you know, since we had the best midfield in the world that time, and even now. You know, we do have numbers, but it's not just numbers, it's the quality of the numbers we have, because every single player there, you know, would say to themselves, they look themselves in the mirror going, I want to get into that midfield 3 or 4, whatever it might be, and I want to stake my claim. And that's what you want. That's what you want your team. You want your manager to have the biggest nightmare in the world. So, you know, long may it continue, mate.
Absolutely. I'm with you 100%. Everything you said there, I'm just finding myself nodding my head and going, yep, agree with that. Jack, if there's one thing that Jurgen Klopp seems to like, it's competition. And if there's one thing that competition tends to do in football teams, it's bring the best out of players. Is that perhaps why we've seen Gini Wijnaldum step his level up again for the start of this season?
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, we saw him adjusted to a number 6 towards the end of last season, and personally, I liked what I saw with him in the number 6. I spoke last week about me preferring him in the number 8, but every time I watch him play in the 6, he grows on me. I mean, I saw a couple of tweets criticising his performance yesterday, but the number 6 position for us will always be the underrated role. The point of a number 6 is to clear up, to help out the defence and sit behind the midfield and do a lot of their work defensively. And, you know, Gini Wijnaldum did that perfectly yesterday. He helped the defence out. He when we're on the attack, his passing was superb. And his creativity from that number 6 position was brilliant. And his performance yesterday has certainly gone underrated, because I thought he was one of our best players on the pitch last night. But he has stepped up his game. Personally, I believe as well that is his positional awareness. I think Klopp has probably worked on him in pre-season with him in number 6, and just spoken to him, worked with him in training, talked about him going forward, playing for Liverpool this season, and perhaps told him that he's more likely to get in the number 6 role. And I think if he continues to perform how he is, then he may continue to keep Fabinho out of the team. Personally, though, I believe it's also good for Jordan Henderson watching Gini Wijnaldum in the number 6, because I feel that now Jordan Henderson can get his chance in the number 8. Since he's joined the club, Henderson, I think he's received a lot of criticism that's undeserved. After all, he's been playing out of position for us for us for a couple of years in the number 6. He is more of a number 8. So he has been terrific. But now we may get a chance this season to see him in the number 8, and I think that's good for Jordan Henderson, because I think he'll step up his game in the number 8 position as well.
Gents, the European transfer window is still open in some countries now. I know that it's not open in the UK, I know it's not open in Italy, but it is still open in some countries. Loris Karius looks like he's going to make a move to Besiktas on a 2-year loan with an agreement to buy. I had a little look into this, and just going by what the Echo wrote, it said that Liverpool could bank £9.5 million from goalkeeper Loris Karius' move to Besiktas. The Reds have agreed an initial 2-year loan with the Turkish outfit, who will pay a loan fee of £2.25 million. Besiktas are obligated to buy the German shot-stopper for a further £7.25 million in 2020 if certain performance criteria are met. These are related to appearances and Besiktas qualifying for Europe. Liverpool have also inserted a 20% sell-on clause if the deal becomes permanent. So Christian, thoughts on this, buddy? And I should also add that it looks like Liverpool have got or will be getting Loris Karius to extend his deal by 1 year before he signs this.
Yeah, well, Liverpool are conducting great business, no matter who we sell or who we buy. You could see that it's value for the money in no matter what deal there is. If we buy the best, we can spend money, and we do great sales. Look at the one on Danny Ings, for instance. That's just remarkable. My take on the Loris Karius matter is that it's not one of the proudest moments in the Liverpool fans' history, because he's basically being chased away from Liverpool. He can't really stay. It's impossible for him, because he will always be measured for that game, and he gotten way too much abuse from certain kind of... Some fans are conducting themselves brilliantly, and You Never Walk Alone really means something to them. But some other fans, they don't really understand what You Never Walk Alone means. He was the loneliest person after the Champions League final. And when it's actually been examined that he had a concussion and that Ramos kind of cheated him from becoming perhaps a Liverpool legend, if that didn't happen, let's say he would have done a good game in the Champions League final for the rest, and Liverpool would have won the Champions League. We wouldn't bought Alisson at all. So it's a thin line from success and failure. I think, however, where we are now, I think this is what Karius needs. He needs to get away from Liverpool, and he needs to get a fresh start and build up his confidence again by a new group of fans who will not hold the history against him. So I think this is a good deal, and if he has a remarkable turnaround of his career, Liverpool still actually owns Karius and could bring him back. So I think it's, at the moment, I think this is the best what Liverpool could do in the matter.
Just touching on what you were saying about the Champions League final and some fans, not giving them a decent run at it. Well, look, what happened in the Champions League final could well be put down to concussion. I can give you that one, but what happened in pre-season on a couple of occasions wasn't down to concussion. It was down to Loris Karius just not being up to scratch. Let's be honest about it. We can, whatever about slating him, in pre-season, them errors he made, you can see his confidence was gone. So Liverpool had to act.
Yeah, I mean, there was this one of these clips rolling around the web about him letting in an easy goal in the warm-up that become like a huge thing. So he had this mob that really wanted him to go, and being scrutinized like that in any athlete who's scrutinized where like 30% or 25% or 15% or of the fans basically hates you and writes personal message to you. For me, it will never be okay. I can never, ever back that kind of behavior. And for me, that's not what the Liverpool fans are normally standing for. They are the best in backing their players. And I think when it comes to Karius, I think a lot of the fans failed. And now this is... and Karius' confidence, as you mentioned, Craig, it wasn't there anymore. He was scared of making mistakes for Liverpool.
You have my full support in what you're saying about some of the fan base turning on him, and I completely agree. But what you were saying with regards to the mistake in the warm-up was completely blown out of proportion. It could happen in if you watch every goalkeeper's warm-up, I'm sure something like that happens to every single one of them. So I get where you're coming from, mate. I wasn't trying to have a go. I was just trying to look at it purely from a performance perspective from Jurgen Klopp's side, not from the fan side. And there's no defending what some fans have said. I completely agree with you on that.
And I do agree. I do agree with that. What's happening now is the best for Karius. And it's the best for Liverpool. It was way too much focus on our goalkeeping situation. And when Alisson became available, even though Karius still would be part of the team, Liverpool has been missing this kind of goalkeeper since Ray Clemens, basically. Peperena, perhaps, when he had some really good days, but it's not since Ray Clemens we had this kind of goalkeeper. And when we were talking about Alisson before, not only the shot stopping and his deliverance, what I've been lacking in Liverpool for so long, it's a goalkeeper good at owning his area and take the crosses. I think Liverpool has been so poor in that department. And Alisson, he has this aura around him that he makes perhaps the strikers a bit scared of being close to him. And Liverpool really has missed that.
Dave, just getting back to the European window, buddy, there's not many more moves I can expect to see from Liverpool. The only one I can really think of might be perhaps Origi to go out somewhere.
Yeah, same as that. What I've heard is Mignolet had a chance to go. He's had the chance to go to two clubs, one being Fulham and one being Napoli, and couldn't agree personal terms. So he's not going anywhere now with Karius gone to Besiktas. Well, looking like he's gone to Besiktas. As I said, and you're rightly saying that the only one I could see now probably going out is Divock Origi. And what I've been reading over here is very, very, very heavily linked with Dortmund. So that could be a good move for him as well. You know, they've signed a couple of decent players this year, Dortmund. I've been saying it for months, mate, and you know, going back to the kind of Karius thing, I think it's no harm and there's no fouling in criticising players. I've been a critic of Divock Origi. I don't think he's good enough for this Liverpool team, and I don't think he's certainly not a fit for Jurgen Klopp's style of play. He didn't cover himself in any glory in the pre-season. Extremely sloppy and, even if I dare say, lazy. So no doubt we'll get good money for him as well, because the way we have been conducting our business has been absolutely superb. Other
27 million, by the way, if rumours are to be believed, is what Liverpool value him at.
Correct, yeah, and apparently they're not budging from that either. How a deal might be structured with Dortmund, who are not shy of a few quid with the transfer dealings they've had. They've obviously sold very well as well and bought very well. But I can't see too many. Obviously, with the window in the closed here now, Craig, you know, if it was still opened, you know, if there was, let's say, 10 days to go, something like that, you could obviously see maybe 2 or 3 more going. But I can't see anyone apart from Origi leaving, unless there's a serious wad of cash, which we don't need, put on the table for one of the players who could be on the fringes.
Markovic and Conor Randall are about to go to new venues, I heard. So those two will probably leave as well.
I hope so, but the way it looks, Christian, is I don't think we can even give them away. So we're not going to be getting any money for them.
Yeah, I think Markovic will get some money for, but Liverpool. We must understand this, that it's all about mathematics in other squads. There will be spots available in squads who will make other late sales to Europe, for instance, or some European clubs that really need players. And so I can't see those two being part of our squad after August.
Oh, neither can I. Like, even with Conor Randall in if you look at the website, he's in. They haven't even taken his picture yet for the new jersey. Never mind this season or last season. He's still in like the 16-17 jersey. So that speaks volumes. Yeah, I don't know where he's going to end up, Christian, to be honest with you. He could, Tranmere, Everton, one of them teams. I don't know.
Do you know what's mad, guys? So
yeah,
Alisson Becker came in. There was lots of rumour about will he take the number 1 or will he not. So he's finally taken the 13, and now it looks like
and especially
Loris is heading off with that number 1 shirt.
But look, it looks like it's going to only be for a season. He'll be number 1, I'd say, from the start of pre-season next year. But listen, I don't care if he's 99 or whatever he wants to be. If he has a Premier League winners medal in his pocket, he might keep the 13. Could be a good omen for him.
Amen. I'm right with you. Jack, just get your thoughts, mate, on the way the window has gone for English clubs, and that we've seen that the English window has closed a lot earlier than some of the European windows. And I just want to get your thoughts on that from a UK perspective, and if you think it puts the clubs at a disadvantage.
Yes. I mean, I'm looking at Chelsea in particular, and all the rumours about Eden Hazard being Ronaldo's replacement at Real Madrid. He hasn't started the last 2 games. Is there something going on behind the scenes there? Who knows? There's also Man United, of course, who lost at the weekend to Brighton, if anyone hasn't seen that, by the way. But yeah, I remember it really brightened up my day though, Craig.
What was the score? I didn't hear that now, to be fair. Did they lose? What was the score?
Yeah,
I think it was it 3-2 perhaps? A heroic Pogba penalty in the 92nd minute apparently wasn't enough to save the Manx from being slayed by the mighty Brighton. But anyway, we move on.
He's also come out and said that he's unsettled. He himself has come out and said he's not happy. So I mean, there's two top 6 clubs there already in a bit of a mess with what their so-called top players. Pogba is a top player, but their so-called top players a bit unsettled. But I think it's great to see. I mean, people wondered whether we'd be in a similar situation, whether teams would come knocking after Mo Salah after the wonderful season he had last year. But I said last week, and I'll say again, what we've done to this summer to tie down Salah and Firmino and new long-term contracts, and looking to do the same with Sadio Mane, is as good as signing 3 brand new world-class players, because it's absolutely terrific. And to walk into the season with none of our top players really linked anywhere else, and just all signed new contracts. Morale's high. We've signed Naby Keita, who will become one of the best midfielders in the world, in my opinion. We've signed Alisson, who is definitely one of the best goalkeepers in the world. We have Van Dijk, who is proving he's world class. Joe Gomez, a young lad, playing alongside him, who they look as if they can build a brilliant partnership for the rest of the season. And morale at Liverpool Football Club could not be better than it is at the moment. And I mean, it's not the same that could be said about other clubs right now. I mean, Arsenal also in disarray, aren't they? Aaron Ramsey hasn't signed a new long-term contract yet, so who's going to come in for them? I think he was linked to us in Chelsea in pre-season, and I've seen links to Manchester United today. So, I think we're in a really, really good position, and it looks good for us this season. And I can't, like you said earlier, Craig, I can't get the smile off my face at the moment.
Guys, I could sit here talking about other clubs' problems all night. I really, really could. I could sit here and talk about United, Arsenal, Chelsea, all their issues. But Christian, there's one thing I wanted to finish up tonight's podcast on. It's a little bit strange. So Dejan Lovren has been called up to the Croatia squad, but honestly, mate, I honestly want to know what the fuck is going on with Dejan Lovren, because I genuinely haven't got a clue.
United fan who goes into the travel agency and asks where to travel, and the travel agent answers, "Well, you can't beat Brighton this time of year." Anyway, Dejan Lovren. I just think it's one of these things where, even though you have injured players, you still want them to be part of the squad. I can't see Dejan Lovren go to Croatia and play a game for them at the moment. I'm just thinking that they want him to be there. They want to do their physical checkup on him, and they want to start a new campaign for the future with Croatia, and there Dejan Lovren is a huge part of that. So I don't think there's too much to read into. I remember when Fredrik Ljungberg was injured at Arsenal, he was still part of every Swedish gathering of the national team, but he didn't take part. But he was there. They were listening to the tactics and how they were going to work in the future, and so on. So I think that's what's happening with Lovren.
Dave, Christian isn't playing ball here. I want hyperball here. I want fucking drama. I want, sob stories. I want everything. I want conspiracy theories, buddy. I'm not getting that from Christian, so I'm going to come on. Christian's far too sensible and correct. I should probably add, but I'll come over to you, mate. Any different theories on this one? Any manager who
manages a football team, be it a club team or international team, he has the right to pick the players that are available to him. I don't know the extent of Lovren's injury, but I'm sure that the Croat manager will be having a conversation with Jurgen Klopp and about exactly where Dejan Lovren is. And look, if he's not fit, and if he's not, I suppose, even close to being fit, there's no point in him playing. But it's obviously, there's no harm in him being with the squad. Croatia just coming back and runners up at the World Cup. They're going to be in pretty good spirits. I can't see him playing the game. I don't know who they're playing against. But the Croat manager, he has the right to call on Lovren if he needs. If it was a friendly game, Klopp could turn around and say, no, he's not going, and there's nothing no one can do about that. But regarding, I suppose, I think it is a qualifier as well for the Euros. Our hands are tied, mate. There's nothing we can do. But he won't play, and if he does, there'll definitely be more questions than answers.
Guys, we're going to have to leave it there. Listeners, I tried my best to get a conspiracy theory from these fellas, but nobody was playing ball.
One thing I want to pick up just before you go, I'm looking at the Brazil squad, and if you notice, Manchester City's Brazilians have not been called up. Now, I don't know about you, but when I saw that, I think there's something suspicious going on there. But both Jesus and Edison are not included in the Brazilian squad. I just wanted to hear what you lot thought about that, because personally, I think there's something dodgy going on there, and it reminded me of something Mourinho usually does. Now I'm a big fan of Pep Guardiola, but I think for him to do, if he has had a word with Tite, I think it's a bit cheeky of him. I just wanted to hear what you thought.
I actually have some insight, or I read an article about Tito and the way that the Brazilian people criticized their team after the World Cup. And one of the players that got the most amount of criticism was Gabriel Jesus. So this is plain that they are showing that he needs to improve to be part of the Brazilian team. So he's just left out of the squad for a reason. And many of the Brazilians thought that Firmino should be the one that should be starting. He proved every time he entered the pitch that he was the best of them, but he still wasn't picked. When it comes down to the goalkeeper, Alisson will still be the first goalkeeper. So now they will look at other goalkeepers behind the first one. And when it comes down to Fernandinho, it's his age. He's 33 years old or something like that. And they think that Fabinho, who's 24, will be the player together with Jorginho in the future for the defensive midfield. So it's kind of a coincidence that all three of them are in Manchester City. It could be that the goalkeeper of Manchester City actually said he couldn't take part this time. That could also be the reason for him, because he didn't get the same amount of criticism. But I think it's the age thing with Fernandinho and Gabriel Jesus, because they want a better striker than him at Brazil.
It's also the thing. It's also the thing as well. Well, Brazil are just playing a friendly against the US. It's nothing more than a friendly, whereas Croatia are playing against Spain on the, I think it's the Tuesday night in the UEFA Nation Leagues. I think it's on. So I'm just actually looking it up here. So yeah, Spain are playing Croatia, on Tuesday the 11th, and that's not a friendly. So that's just my opinion on that. Brazil are playing a friendly. He would want to maybe bet in some new players. The guy who's at Real Madrid now, apparently, and there was another one as well who was meant to be gone. From United, Pereira, who was touted as maybe starting for Belgium. He's been called up to the Brazilian team, so he's nailed on now. That's the only difference is, Lovren, case with him in Croatia. It's I'll use it in inverted commas. It's an important game. It's more important than a friendly.
Jesus, lads, you're really not giving me anything here today, are you? You're not giving me any like sensationalism at all. Jack set it up for you there, lads. He set it up for you to knock it out of the park, and you couldn't even play ball.
I was trying to provide you with your conspiracy theory, Craig, but
I
know they just didn't play ball. Christian, you want to come back in before we finished?
My take on this had nothing to do with if it was a competitive game or to angle it like against Croatia. The friendlies in Brazil are very honourable to be part of as well. That's why Firmino and Coutinho and Neymar and all of the other ones will take part. It's every time you get chosen to play for Brazil, they all arrive. All the stars arrive. It's very rarely that they don't go, even though it's a friendly.
The big problem here, guys, is, and none of you have touched on this, is who the fuck are we going to share the jet with now? Who are we going to half-hire the jet with to go over to Brazil for our players? We used to go half-season with Manchester City, and now that there's nobody this year, are we going to be left with the bill? Are we going to have to foot the bill for this trip ourselves?
Yeah, it looks like it, yeah.
These are the big questions that need answering, guys. But look, we'll leave it there for this week. Massive thank you to Christian, to Dave, and to Jack for joining me. We'll talk to you next week. Take care.